All right, so let's start on our back this morning. If you'd like to lay on your blocks for restorative fish or just laying on your back more like a shavasana or soles of the feet together and knees fall apart, we call that Supta Konasana, reclining angled pose. Let's just take a few moments to ground here, yogis. You get a nice stretch with your meditative qualities. I'm using a blanket for a more gentle version. Again, reaching your arms wider to the back could be a little bit more of a stretch here. Settle into the position, close your eyes. Start to connect to the subtle sensations of the body, of the breath. Then start to breathe a little bit deeper in and out the nose, into the abdomen, the chest. Maybe adding a few gentle breath holds at the top of your inhalation. If you're just joining, we're on our back, either on a prop or laying on the ground, your choice today. Just connecting to the breath for a few more moments here. Remember, one of our main things we do in the beginning of the practice and throughout is set intentions, remember intentions. And what does intention mean, right? Kind of goals or desires. And you remember that as you start to practice, just in case it's easy to get caught up in the temporary drama, whether it's, the COVID or anything going on in your life, you want to wake up kind of remembering your bigger ambitions and, intentions in your life and practice with that in mind, keeping that in your meditative visualization as we practice. All right, yogis, if you're on a prop, take your time. Let's slowly make our way off of the prop. Hey, I'm going to bring you back onto your back here. I like to let the spine settle after using a prop. And today we're going to do what's called a reclining vinyasa. Remember, vinyasa is a sequence of movements and positions, but this is more like a warm-up form, okay? Everyone knows this, so I'll run through it quickly here. Our first position is a full body stretch. You're going to reach your arms to the back and your legs to the front. You're stretching through your ribs, your waist, your underarms, your legs, and you can see I'm rolling out my ankles and wrists here. Our second position in the little flow is going to be knees into chest. Now you can keep your head down, you could tuck your chin, bring your forehead toward your knees. Okay, that's the second position. On the exhale, Apanasana. Waking up the back body, third position. I'm getting kind of right into it here, yogis, to warm you up. We're going to come into a nice gentle bridge pose. Everyone knows it, heels under knees, pressing through big toe. We're going to lift those hips. Gentle, right? Not really forcing anything, just kind of turning on the glutes, the lower back, the core. You could always kind of reach your arms back again. Just a suggestion. Okay, then I'm going to slowly lower my back down, vertebrae by vertebrae, bringing my hips down. I'm going to keep the feet down for now. And I'm going to curl the upper body, right? Just a kind of gentle turning on of the abdomen. Okay, lifting the chest up a little bit, pressing the lower back down. You could hover your feet as we go for a little extra. All right? Now I'll keep it easier here to start. I'm going to bring the head, the arms, the feet down. I'm just going to knock my knees over to the right. That would kind of be that fifth position. knock knees to the right. So if I keep my feet down, it's going to be a little bit less, a little bit more hip. If I start to bring the knees toward the chest more, it'll be more. Let's go to the knees, knock to the second side. I could even let my head fall to the opposite side. Remember, Sundays is a little bit simple, slower, and stretchier. A little bit more restorative, okay? Let's get going here. Full body stretch, second round, inhale. Knees into the chest. You could even add things like happy baby is the exhale. Bridge is the inhale. Little crunch, so like this kind of like half boat, okay, is the exhale. Twist, I'm going to twist to the opposite side first. Now you can see I have my knees more toward my chest, creating more of a spinal rotation. Knees over to the second side. And now we're going a little bit faster here, thinking movement. Full body stretch, inhale, round 3. Knees into chest, exhale. Bridge, inhale. Little crunch, exhale. Twist. Twist to the second side. Last few rounds here, more at your own pace, yogis. Full body stretch, inhale. Knees into chest, exhale. Bridge, inhale. Again, the breath doesn't have to be exact here, yogis, okay? Exhale, little crunch, wake up that core. Exhale, knees turn to a side. The inhale would bring you back to center. The exhale would twist you to the second side. Last round or two, please. Full body stretch. And then knees into chest. It's called Apanasana, kind of like a child pose on your back. Bridge. Little crunch just to get those abs turning on. Kind of like a cat position. Twist. And see if you can do like one more now on a very personal note. If you mess it up, it's okay. I'm using this to wake up front and back body, kind of stretching and squeezing and twisting, rotating either the hips with the feet more on the floor or the knees closer to the chest for more of a spinal rotation, much less of a hip rotation at that point. And sometimes you will go into a gentle yoga class and do this for like a good 10 minutes. There can be some other options here, adding figure 4 type movements and stretches, adding legs up to the sky, or even doing a single leg type variation here. I think we've done a few of those over in our past on Zoom. So if there's anything you're liking there and those things mentioned, give you another 30, 40 seconds. All right, now I'm going to kind of keep moving forward. You take your time here, guys. Eventually, let's meet back in our second position, that Apanasana, knees come into chest. Let's do one little round of angled bridge here. Remember, this is a beginner exercise. Don't feel like you have to lift very high here. Okay, I take the knees open like our first stretch when we were on the blocks. I think I saw a couple of you doing that. Soles of the feet are on the together. Outer edge of the feet are on the floor. Arms have to go down to stabilize. As you can see, I'm gripping my mat actually. I press the big toe, feet together lightly, and here I go. I lift those hips. All right, now the trick is I try to let my knees fall open as I lift my hips, but at the same time, yogis, tailbone touch between the legs. It's very difficult to see. It's subtle. Here I'm not doing it. I'm arching my back more, and the tailbone is now lifting between the thighs more, lifting the hips more, but I'm letting the knees fall open. Now, you can even do something a little bit of like rocking side to side. I do like to encourage a little bit of outside the lines movement, not to be too stiff or linear. Last moments there. Okay, I slowly lower down. I might even just let my knees knock together for a moment. I did widen my feet there. It's kind of a opposite position. Something a little different now, yogis, okay? I'm gonna roll onto my right side. I'm gonna choose my right side because you can see me well here. I'm gonna pad my head. Now, to start, you kind of bring the left knee toward the chest. My bottom knee is bent, and then I kind of swing it behind me. You know how in down dog plank, we'll bring the knee into the chest, to the elbow right here, and then we bring it behind like three-legged dog. Notice I leaned a little forward to create that counterbalance. I'm bringing the knee toward the elbow, even the shoulder, and then I'm bringing the leg behind me, okay? That's just the first little part, a few of these here. Remember, simple, slower Sundays. Now, the whole time I'm kind of lifting the leg slightly, okay? And to add another part here, we could go up and down with the leg laterally. So you really feel your outer hips start to train and strengthen, okay? So we did a few of these back behind us. I can even bend the knee a little bit, bring the knee forward in front of us. I did a few of these laterals. So now you got one more go here. It's a big leg circle, okay? At this point, your leg might be starting to burn a little bit. The leg goes kind of forward, up, wide. And if you straighten the leg, it tends to be a little bit more difficult. Don't forget to take it nice and slow, yogis. Okay, I'm going behind me now. Now I'm going to reverse directions. I'm kind of turning the toes up a little bit. Get that hip training. Take it nice and slow, yogis. Slow is better for strengthening. And, you know, this is a big movement, all right? Did our nice vinyasa warm up. Now you get to the complexities of the hip. I am pushing down with my elbow. I am kind of gripping the floor here with my top hand. Last moments on the first side. Nice. Okay. I'm just going to have you switch sides. Let's not do it too long here, guys. These classes fly by. So now you get a different view here. I'm going to pad my neck to start. My right top hand is in front of me. And I'm just going to start by bringing the leg behind me. Remember, I have the left foot knee bent, so the left foot's behind me, so I don't fall back. I have the right hand and elbow in front of me, so I don't roll too forward. And I'm starting by going back like a three-legged dog, knee toward the chest. Back behind me like a three-legged dog, the butt still working, knee toward the elbow, the chest. You take a few of those, and as a reminder, the second part might be a few of these lateral lifts. As you can see, we're training those legs and hips right now, guys. And then the third part is this big circle. Now, I know that some of you might not have a lot of room. And remember, I'm pressing my forearm and elbow down. I'm pressing my bottom left foot and knee down to stabilize my body. I did lift my head a little bit here. I'm still holding it with the bottom hand. I'm going nice and slow. This is also a stretch. I'm circling the hip, laying on my side. We've done this before. It's been a while. Sometimes I teach this in flexibility classes. We used to have those on Monday on Zoom.
It's if you're new to it, it might be a little awkward, and that's good. It's good to do new things. Uh, yeah, and I can give that hip a little love punch there. Yeah, a little massage for that hip. Yep, that's always good because this is a lower back training. Remember the lower back and hip, a lot of times we're talking about them as separate body parts, but they're pretty much the same thing. Uh, so when we strengthen the hips, we take a lot of pressure off the lower back. And, when we're strengthening the hips, it can tighten up the lower back as well. So, be easy, even though it's a rather simple exercise. Okay, let's keep it going, guys. I got one more thing for you here. Bring the knees into the chest. Now we're going to do that nice lever. I do like to do a little bit of abdominal training here on the back. I'll give two more things on the back. We will do our figure 4 stretching. This is very linear. It's very front body. That tends to be a little bit more back body and outer body. Lower back's going to stay down. And let's just take this nice and slow. Lower back down, ball the feet touch. I'm going to bring the legs forward, creating that lever, feeling the lower back push down, pull that belly in, pausing. Now remember, the lower I go here with the legs, the more I straighten my legs, the more difficult. We'll bring the knees back in after a nice burn. And then you get going here, yogis. Inhale. Remember, I like to go a little bit lower, but the key is to keep that lower back down, and then I like to bring it back up after I start to strain too much. A little extra could be to curl the upper body. Okay, we kind of did that already, but that is going to create a little bit more of that front line, compression and tension. Last few, guys. And there are more ways to do this. We've done it before. You can go a little bit to the side. Your knees can even draw like a little circle in space. So the forward and back is kind of our linear after the circling of the hips. But if you're feeling good and you want a little bit more, what you do is your knees are kind of bent. You just bring the legs forward and almost to the side a little bit, creating almost a circular type motion with the knees. And I'm thinking a nice kind of hip stretch to unwind you. It might be good to just kind of windshield wipe your knees or shake your legs out a little bit after that. Even though we've done some movements, it's all been kind of sticky. Let's thread the needle, a nice figure 4, right ankle atop left knee. Take your time. Some of you are still going with your core work. You reach through and grab the left hamstring, flex the right foot. Try to keep your head and shoulders, hips on the floor. So sometimes we curl up a lot to get that position. Try to keep the head down. Shoulders are even pulling down. Nice smooth breathing here. Remember, you take a bigger inhale than normal. Maybe hold the breath for 3-10 seconds. And I like to visualize it. The exhale is, imagine you have that full balloon. That's the inhale. It's like there's a pinhole in the balloon, and you're letting the air out of the lungs as slow as possible. But you do want to empty the lungs completely also. So it's not like you empty the balloon 3/4. You have to actually squeeze the air out of the bottom of the lung. So that is active. All right. It takes a little kind of muscular force to exhale fully. All right. Second side, please. Figure 4. Some of you look like you're already there. No problem. Giving just a little extra time to slow down. Now, I want you to just kind of pace this out. We'll meet maybe a happy baby. If you were feeling excellent, it's not really gentle, but the legs swing up over the body. That would be called plow. That is one of the more kind of risky yoga poses some people say in yoga. And I get it. It's weight bearing on the neck and spine and a hyper range.
But I'm not here to tell you exactly what to always do. I'm not here to always play it safe. I try to request that of you personally, but there are days maybe you push it, okay? Let's make our way up to seated position.
And I'm gonna bring you into seated for a little mobility type drill here, guys. You're gonna widen your legs. We did a lot of leg movement. Let's get back into moving the upper body and the core a little bit more. Now, I would start gentle by flexing the feet, sitting up tall. I'm gonna move you. You can hold stretches if you want today. I'm gonna kind of turn over my right leg here, bringing the chest down over the right knee. Take a moment there. So I'm not rushing, then I'm gonna sit up. I'm gonna turn to the left, and I'm more flexible than this, but I'm feeling a little tight. I went for a little jog yesterday, so I'm not pushing it, right? Inhale back to center. I'm gonna exhale back over the right leg. And as if I wanna get into it a little bit more, it's almost like I'm reaching the opposite hand for the opposite foot. Now, this is dynamic stretching, yogis. It's pretty big, right? So I'm just kind of turning to the side, hinging over the thigh, getting into my breath. And if I want to kind of swing the arms a little bit more, if I want to make it a more of a side body stretch, as you can see the difference, now I'm showing a side stretch as opposed to this one where I twist and hinge more. So just a little bit of room for creativity. And then the final part could be more like a circling with the legs open. Last few here, please. And I'm feeling it really tight on the right here. So that's how I'm modifying it for my body today, right? I wouldn't necessarily have a plan until I get into it. I'm even finishing it up here personally with a few really forward and back movements. Just kind of really getting into all those different spaces. All right. No rush here, guys. Next position is our tabletop. Let's take a little cat-cow here. Arching the back, lifting the chin. Even though we have done things kind of like this, nothing replaces the fundamental cat-cow. Inhale, like that happy cow, belly full of grass, the back dips. Some people call this camel or scared, angry cat, that big round into the spine. A few forward and back, a few side to side and circular. Let's do our gentle serratus presses today, please. A scapular floss, okay? Scapular push-up. I move forward. Now, this is not a spinal action, okay? So my spine is gonna neutralize more. I'm gonna keep my arms rather straight. I'm gonna drop my chest between my arms. Now, this rolls my scapula back together over the spine, spread the back. So I'm not bending the elbows. I'm not arching, rounding the spine. I'm dropping my chest between my arms, feeling my scapula roll back, spreading the back, really rolling the scapula down. It does look like my spine rounds a little bit. That's okay, right? But it's not the action really. The body's always kind of working together, so things happen. But as you can see now, I'm moving a little faster. And it's not a spinal or elbow action. It's really not even like a shoulder joint action. This one tends to be a little tricky for some of us, even very experienced yogis. I sometimes have like certain yoga teachers do this and they have very much trouble isolating what's called protraction, retraction. So yogis, this is the movement, just in case. Watch one more time. I'm pulling my shoulders back in space. I'm spreading my arms. My shoulders forward, back, forward. So you're doing this, but with a little bit of weight on the body in tabletop. Last moments. This is an important movement, right? It's
very common for people to have very knots up in here, right between the scapula and the spine. There's 5-6 layers of muscle there, right? And we're really focusing on these outer retracting, protracting layers. All right, let's get into a quick down dog now. This is for the feet and the inversion quality. Not going to have you do anything fancy here, but get into the feet, pedal those toes out. That's very important to do each class. Shake the head a little yes and no if it feels needed. Move the hips a little side to side. Take your time. If you're still going with the protraction, retraction exercise, just meet us in dog. Last few breaths here. I'm keeping it simple for Sundays, yogis, all right?
All right, let's get going. Let's get to that big thread the needle. We need that horizontal abduction now. Pec major, back fly. It's a good one. Let's go bigger range since we have smaller group. I'm back down in tabletop. Right arm reaches underneath. Inhale, right arm up and open. I like to pause too, yogis, especially here. That's the postural moment and the strengthener. Exhale, right arm underneath. Inhale, right arm up and open. I even like to pulse it. Last few. I will have you pause in thread the needle.
After about, what do we do? 6 to 12 of those. We're not alternating sides. We are repeating the side. And then what you do after 6 to 12, depending on how you're feeling it, thread the needle, right arm underneath. Now there is extra where your right leg could go out to the side here, right? If you wanted to have more stretch, more restriction, basically your right leg just goes right out to the side. It would be kind of off your mat, almost like a warrior 2 back leg. And then you find that thread the needle, just kind of resting the shoulder, the head, the arm down. It's inversion, right? So bridge was increasing blood flow to back of brain. Down dog is increasing blood flow to the front of the brain, possibly. Can't guarantee anything. This is increasing blood flow to the side of the brain. Nice deep breathing. I used to not like this pose. I remember in the beginning of my yoga journey, you go to power yoga and they teach this in the beginning. It's like, okay, let's get going. But now I get it, and it's actually, I really like it. It's like comfortable. All right, let's slowly inhale that right arm up and open, please. Exhale that right hand down. Take a little neutralizer if you need. Eventually, just find that second side, left arm underneath. You're kind of stretching it under actively. Remember, there's a lot of ways to do this in subtle layers. Sometimes you hover the arm. Sometimes you push the back of the arm down there. Sometimes you lift it up against the chest, right? A lot of little subtle things you can do there to change this. Then the left arm goes up again. I like to kind of pause because remember, you were just doing protraction, retraction. The protraction was the active part in our serratus push-up. This is more like a retracted active. So those two are kind of going together. We had the down dog between, but these two exercises kind of working together, right? I've often tried to mention that people overlook their scapular training. We tend to think of shoulders. You don't think of the scapular movements enough, right? We're all experts at the elevation. This is the one everyone's good at, is lifting the shoulders toward their ears. But we're not that good at retracting or protracting or depressing the scapula. Is really underdeveloped. All right. So you're getting into that second side. Some of you, you're just going to end up threading that needle, right? Left arm under right, bringing the left ear down. You got to kind of adjust, right? If the shoulder's kind of too crunched toward the ear, you kind of adjust, so you're more comfortable there. All right, I'm gonna do kind of one more thing here. No rush, meet me in tabletop at your pace.
And then we'll do a couple like wrist stretches here, yogis. All right, so this is part of our ankle stretching. It is our gentle vinyasa. If you'd rather do chaturangas, I will show a little bit easier version today. Hands walk a little forward. Okay, you can exhale, you know, back to your child pose type position for a breath or three. I won't hold you here long since we did all that stuff on the back. But you come up through tabletop, shift forward. I lift the feet. I bend the elbows. I do release the feet back down. I lift the chest for cobra. My hips come toward the floor. My knees are on the floor. I tuck the chin and round the spine back to my dog. Now my child pose. That's a little slow. Start it up. Round forward. Gentle push up. Cobra. That's the first really big hip flexion, right? We're about to go into lunges next. Child pose, table, plank, cobra, rounded table, child pose. I'm only giving you a few moments there, guys.
Maybe you're even drawing a circular type movement with your hips, or maybe you're going stronger, down dog, plank, low plank, up dog. We don't do this one as much, and it's really nice. No one shows up for Simple Sundays, guys. Yesterday we had, I think, 11 computers sign in. There's only 3 of us, but that's fine. No one likes to do the gentle, healthy stuff. Actually, I guess one other person wanted it recorded, so I guess that's 4 people today. 5 people. How about we do a quick wrist stretch, yogis? We don't do them enough in my classes.
And being on our wrists a lot, we should probably make sure we're giving some love there. I'll meet you here. And I'm just going to go right into it quickly, turning the fingers out and around. Kind of the most popular wrist yoga stretch. The fingers are just facing my knees. You can see the crease of my elbows forward. Just kind of leaning back, kind of pausing. Again, you could go like more of a dynamic approach, kind of moving forward, or you could hold. Second part at your pace is turning the fingers again forward, neutral, but then turning the fingers kind of inward. This is a spiral stretch. It's really nice. I'm kind of turning the elbows out and toward my body to feel that outer wrist pulling away. So I'm not really moving forward and back in this one. In the upper body, it's more of an arm action that creates more of a stretch. It's kind of tough to see. I'm doing it right now, repetitive, so you can kind of see the crease of the elbow is attempting to roll forward. Okay. I do want to do those palm lifts. Now, if you need a moment, you can always sit back. It's always good to compress those ankles a little extra. I'm just kind of like squeezing my wrists or shaking them out in between stretches here. And now we'll go into those palm lifts. Remember that this stretch is a little bit more for like the hand and the fingers as opposed to the wrist, even though it is some wrist. Now, again, fingers spread, thumb and palm lift, but the base knuckle joint of the fingers stay down, okay? It's kind of hard to see here. The palm lifts, but the fingers stay down, okay? Feel a kind of sharp stretch right through the hand, the palm area.
So just to see this, what action in another form here, yogis, when your hand is neutral down, it's like that, right? I keep the MP joint down, this big part of the upper palm, and lift the palm up. So it looks like that, right? And then the final stretch here, I'd, maybe shake the hands out or, roll the wrists, is the back of the hand down. So you're on the ground, you'd flip the back of your right hand down, the palm would face up. Remember, this one tends to be the more stimulating wrist stretch. Close your eyes and breathe. Okay. Don't avoid the stretches that are more, intense or kind of achy. Okay, and then you do your second side, back of the hand down, or second wrist.
Let's keep going, yogis. All right, class is flying by. Take a moment, neutralize your wrist. If you want to sit on your ankles and do a little neck stretching, sometimes we're not doing enough of these subtle things in the core hatha or power yoga classes. So, I'm just kind of like knocking the neck to the side for a moment. We kind of already did forward and back, maybe twisting, but that lateral neck stretch or gentle circling of your neck might be good here. All right, I keep it moving forward, yogis. I'm gonna put my hands on blocks, right foot steps forward, lunging. So I'm gonna show you some options. Since we have all regulars here, I'm gonna keep the knee down today because it's Anjaneyasana. We tend to do high lunge more. I'm gonna make sure my front knee's kind of over my front heel about, right? I'm gonna start to lift the chest. That would be like the back bend, right? If I want a bigger hamstring stretch, you're gonna get plenty of time here, guys. Once I demo, I'm gonna give you a good another minute, minute and a half. So I'm gonna start to bend, straighten that front knee and bend the back knee more. That's gonna be the hamstring stretch. If I wanna go a little bit more complex in the first part, I'll come back to that first part. Okay, I can bring a side stretch. Left arm goes up and over. Okay, I can even bend that arm here. I could even twist a little bit, bring that elbow outside the thigh. Coming back into the front leg straight. I guess I'm just kind of doing it with you at this point. Okay, if I wanted to go big, I can always slide the front leg a little bit more forward. Notice my chest did come up. I am more towards a full splits now. Last few breaths here, guys. Coming back to the first part. If you wanted to go even bigger, you could go either arms up or even reaching for this side, if my right leg was forward, my left hand would reach for my left foot, pulling the heel to the butt.
Sometimes it's good to just keep it simple, right? And do our basic forms for a little bit longer holds. And we're basically just gonna, switch sides when you feel good about it. No rush, trying to find either the sticky places and apply a little bit more of that personalizing. All right, now left leg eventually forward after you kind of shake it out, or you could do a little vinyasa type movement there. And you start with just kind of a little bit more basic. It's called Anjaneyasana. It's lunge with the back knee down. You just, don't be lazy there, guys. Press the feet down, squeeze the pelvic floor, lift the chest, work the shoulders back and down a little bit. If you want to do high lunge and pyramid, that's fine. We do that more often. Okay, and then you'd straighten the front leg if you're taking the second part first time there. It's called half splits or half pyramid often. Some of these are just ahead, kind of going on your own. The third part was more of that second round of Anjaneyasana, a little more of the lungy part, but it's a side stretch. So right arm goes up and over. That's a Pedigasana. It's a very kind of classic pose. So if your left leg is forward, your right arm goes up and over. That is a double psoas traction. It's a really nice one. I did mention also there, you could take that right elbow outside kind of the left knee on top of the knee for a gentle type of twisting lunge. Nice. Okay, I did mention kind of full splits in case you wanted to go big. There's gentle ways to do full splits. Like you saw, I wasn't forcing it. I was just kind of going to where I felt like an okay stretch and felt pretty good for my back hip flexor. So I straighten the front leg again, but then I would slide that leg forward and bring the upper body back more a little bit. Nice, blocks walk back. You know, full splits, it's like, it's, you know, big pose, wow, it's crazy, it's too much, no need to do it, but it does feel pretty good some days. You know, it's a stretch like that. If you find it in a way that's approachable, right? Jam into it or anything. That's the double straight leg, right? The splits is the big double straight leg. The next one was the big double bent knee. These are like big stretches, right? We're gonna do like one more thing here on the ground, and then we're gonna, you know, basically close practice standing today. Okay, so the final part is the Anjaneyasana again. You could either bring both arms up, or if your left leg is forward, your right arm reaches back to grab your right foot. So the double bent knee. And that's still the modified version. Eventually, it's the front knee is very bent as well. The more advanced version is where I dorsiflex the ankle, right? So I had you guys in the version where the front knee is over the front heel. Eventually, it is a little bit more like this, where I can press the ankle more, but that's not really the gentle version, right? So it's double bent from double straight, it's split. And then you're working into the double bent knee more with the bigger knee compressions, but you know, not necessary at all. So you had some laterals, you had some straight back bend, you know, all nice spinal actions there, basically all of them. You had some nice leg movements there as well. You're gonna finish up that side. So if you wanted to take a quick plank hold, this would be your time. Maybe you just drop down your forearms for just a few breaths, kind of tighten things up after that stretchy lunging. You know, you just stretched out the wrists. Let's not get too stretchy now. Maybe a quick plank. This would be your opportunity of class. Push-ups, planks. If you wanted to go huge and do headstand or an inversion, this would also be that moment. Last few breaths, forearm plank or high plank if you're doing it. Can't go wrong with a nice plank hold here. Anything fancy is welcome, hovering a foot, windshield wiping the feet, rainbowing side to side. I'm going to take it down to the chest for that last big stretch here. We did some cobras earlier, guys, and some bridges. I want to take that nice chest opener. So pretend I'm laying on the ground. I think everyone knows this. Reaching the right arm out for extra bend the arm. Maybe the elbow is slightly higher than the shoulder. Press the hand, elbow, shoulder down. Push through your left hand, open up to your left side starts to open up. Press that right shoulder down, yogis. Take 3-4 more breaths. I can't keep you here too long today. Remember to stretch your tighter side a little bit more. You kind of did this position almost, right? When we were doing that thread the needle movement. It's similar where you're opening the chest. Here you get that more static stretch release. But just so we're clear that those are quite similar, I often don't have you do both, but today's a nice therapeutic class day, all right? And we got to get the shoulders kind of rolling back, release those pec majors. Second side, please, if you're not there, left arm out. Remember to reach it out. Sometimes that shoulder is pinching up or too close to the body. get some nice space in that arm, reach it out. All right, when you're done, if you wanted to do a little like gentle cobra or full cobra, good idea. If not, we're gonna meet back in down dog. So it is the second down dog hold. This would be we kind of already did this stuff, but if you wanted to reach a leg up and back, you kind of just did that, but three-legged dog. But it is kind of your last down dog. I'm not gonna have you do sun salutations or anything like that today. Did that stuff yesterday. You hold down dog a little bit longer, right? This is part of our weight bearing in the arms. We're not doing too much of that. So, hold that down dog to stimulate those arms. You had some push-ups earlier, you had some dog earlier. You just did a plank, but this is that kind of last big round there, right? So you go strong on those arms till they want to quit, and you take another few moments. Right, when you're studying muscle building of the arms, shoulder press is like literally top. It might be number one. It's tough to say what's going to build your arms the fastest. Pull-ups are really good, but shoulder press is going to build muscle mass fast. And this is kind of like that, right? It's just a static hold. Walk your feet to the front of the mat. Once I see you start resting, take a little moment to touch your toes. We really haven't gone there yet. You did your half splits instead and your straddle earlier. Okay, I won't hold you there too long since we've done a pretty good amount of forward bending. We're gonna meet you up in standing yogis. So let's come to standing position. Take a little releasing moment. We kind of enter the final tier. We only got about 10 minutes left. Check the clock, but let's get into our balance. We did lunges, okay? Don't have too much time here. So right into that tree pose. If you want to go a little bit stronger, pull it up higher or grab the knee and lift that knee up into the chest. Hug the elbows and lift the chest. So remember, from the side, nice good posture here, yogis. Lift that chest, okay? And right from the start, you can feel that burn in the standing hip. When I want to, if I'm where I usually tend to hold that knee up into the chest more often. The legs are more in like a hyper range, so you're going to get more muscle activation. Simple tree, I would probably close my eyes or lift the heel or reach my arms up to the sky. It depends on how you're feeling, Work your balance, right? That's the neuromuscular exercise. You see it more and more, it's all that new information spreads really fast. Now everyone's into, fasting and wearing blue blocker glasses at night, too much fake light, and everyone's, now getting back into sunlight. Everyone was blocking sun forever. Now everyone knows getting back into sunlight, prioritizing sunlight. So and that's the new thing in like the biomechanics, like everyone is now getting into balance. Okay, second side, I'm trying to give you a little bit longer, guys. We're only going to do 2 rounds here. And the second round, you're going to have some options. Pretty cool, right? Like you see all the young kids are being trained, and all like the young athletic kids. It's like they always used to like do a few stretches and then they do their running and their sport, but now they're all like being trained in balance. And of course, as we grow older, it's very important just for safety and quality of life. It's not good to lack coordination or proprioception. You don't want to fall. So, you know, you're in your balance. Don't end yet. Just try to go longer, yogis. Think of this like a plank before those balancing muscles. You get that stimulation, you hold as long as you can. Now, the second thing I want to do is strengthen the feet. We haven't done much of that, right? We haven't been even upright. It's been a ground-based practice. I try to teach a lot of standing yoga on purpose. We want strong feet, okay? So I want to do the calf raises. This is part of our balance, right? So you can do it in the middle of the room, and that's going to be more balancey, right? So feet are about hips width distance. I lift. You're unstable for a moment. You pause, then you lower down. That's our basic, right? Lift, pause. You feel those big toes gripping. Now, if your feet are weak, this is a lot, right? It can be irritating to the feet. Your feet can strain very easy, okay? You hear. You can do it on the wall. You're going to get much less balance, right? You're not going to hit tonic stabilizers because your clothes chain, which means something is holding you, right? So if you feel good, you're not going to lift the heel high. Little bend in the knee. One-legged lift. Pause. Lower down. Not necessarily all the way. Lift. Pause. Now, if you feel really good and you have a set of stairs next to you, what you do is you do the decline, right? So if this was my foot, normal is here. The decline is going lower than the stair. Calves are a very important muscle to have strong, yogis. Foot and calf. We know that muscle tension patterns start in the feet. It's like your body's ability to, you know, for locomotion. It's all connected, right? What do physical therapists do? Your back hurts, they give you foot releases and foot training. Okay, what is acupressure? It's releasing the whole body through the feet, the ancient Chinese medicine. We got to get to those feet. They demand extra attention. Last, these are our 2 rounds of balance. I was going to maybe say if you'd rather do like Warrior 3 and stuff, we do that a lot. So we do this less, is why I'm kind of leaning towards this now. I'm going to give you a nice big movement after this too, just one little really big full body complexity, okay? Last 30 seconds. And then you can make your way into the final move. This is basically the most complex movement of class, guys. It's bilateral, it's hip circumduction, it's abduction, abductions, right? It's starting like this is the lateral tilt of class. You could do triangle if you want. I do that all the time. Just kind of leaving some of that common stuff out today. So big circling at the hips. Now, the more I get my spine moving against the pelvis is the more challenging for the core, right? So I'm moving a lot now, yogis, and standing, right? Outside the lines, not forward and back, not necessarily side to side. If I wanted to add a little bit of like twisting or even bending over, I think I saw one of you doing that earlier. I love that movement. It's hard to beat, where you kind of bend over and tap the toe. Something big movements. Upstanding, one big movement, guys. You know, sometimes in class I'll say, okay, let's have this like really creative dancing, like most movement, move in ways you don't. That's what we're doing, because even the stuff on the floor, it's kind of very linear, it's very structured. You know, sometimes you go to yoga classes for years and you get trapped in a certain style or, you know, certain instructors. I'm not trying to say they're bad instructors. I'm just, everyone's playing a different role in the yoga community. It's good to take multiple teachers. You really should, doesn't matter how expert a person is, you should get different views and different teachers. You know, you go through schooling and you learn from many people. You know, that's key in yoga as well. You can get trapped in a certain like patterns of movement. You go through like years of yoga and it's like so linear, and life's not like that. You know, let's make this relate to life as well, because life's always throwing new people at you and new experiences. All right, I'm gonna do a yogi squat. If you want to touch your toes again, that's fine. Make your way to the front of the mat, get low.
And to end class here, yogis, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I haven't checked the time. My clock is, but I'm going to do a breathing exercise to end class. I think we were pretty well rounded on the body. We did some extra feet, wrists, neck, pretty good in all the arm actions, hip actions, core actions. Let's not be too physically focused. Let's get into our energy meditative practices. It's called Kapalabhati. I'm regularly teaching deeper inhales and breath holds at the top. This is a faster breath. Yoga, we don't breathe fast enough. I try to sometimes recommend do a little extra cardio work. That's important. Get that blood flow going more than yoga does, okay? So I'm gonna take a nice seated position. If you'd rather sit on your heels, I actually tend to like this position a little bit more for this breath because I can just sit upright better. I'm not so rounded and sticky here. Yogis, this is a pulsing exhale breath. I want to practice the bottom of our lungs, the more underdeveloped part of our lungs. We're all good at inhaling. We need to practice that exhale, okay? Remember, exhale is usually considered the relaxing part of our breath. Think about when you get stressed, you scared, you inhale fast, right? So inhale is that more, common breath. So what I'm going to do is inhale about halfway and then rhythmically, not too stressful, I'm going to pulse the exhale out. The inhale happens naturally.
If you cannot continue, you're doing it a little too strenuous. As you get better, you can do more force, but people come into this and want to win the gold medal in Kapalabhati breathing. It's not supposed to be too strong. It's not like I'm trying to go faster, louder than before, or my neighbor. In Kundalini, I've showed you this. They do this for 12 minutes straight. I've seen these things where people do it for like an hour. Okay. I mean, that's normal. People go jogging for an hour or, they'll do something where try to do it in a way where you continue, just like you try to do plank in a way where you can continue. It's the long stimulus that creates the change. It's not doing it for a few moments. Okay. So take a deep inhale. Take a really deep exhale. Push max lungs out. Now remember, beginner breath holding is holding on the inhale. Second tier intermediate is trying to hold the breath on the exhale. I practice that a lot. I emptied my lungs max and held the breath. Okay. Well, it is 8:45, yogis. So that's a nice ending there. A meditation now, please. Remember, even breathing is still rather beginner. In Ashtanga Yoga, it's 4th tier out of 8. Ashta means 8. In Hatha Yoga, it's 2nd body, energetics, right? Physical body, anatomy and things are 1st tier. 2nd tier is our breathing, realizing your electrical, chemical, heightened awareness. I'm an electrical, magnetic, chemical being. I also have things like chakras and prana and kundalini. But 3rd tier out of the 5 is mental. It's thoughts. You no more breathing. We need to give complete focus to mental aspect. It's also part of emotions. Intentions is more of 4th, 5th tier. But that's all part of this as well, like intentional thought processes. Intention really is all tiers, right? Intention of physical, intention of energetic. But it really manifests in like the higher tiers in a stronger form because your thoughts need to align with your dreams. Your thoughts need to align with your desires. You gotta stop thinking about what you don't want. You have to stop worrying so much. Emotions are aligning. And the subconscious is now being programmed based on your intentions, not based on your past and your traumas. Okay, so like a purely mental, subtle observation, emotional attitude. Okay, so closing meditation, yogis, nice job today. I got to give you a few minutes on your own.